So most people are inflamed and sick from their sugar, their dairy, and the gluten that they're eating. So why are we always craving these treats when they make us feel so horrible? So what if we actually felt energized instead of feeling like we got hit in the stomach or have brain fog all the time? What if we could actually eat a treat that made us feel good? Today we're going to be talking about that in this episode.
You're watching the Dr. Jake podcast.
I'm Dr. Jake. I'm a naturopathic doctor and integrative physician in Salt Lake City, Utah. On this channel, I share with you how you can heal your body and get your energy back without any harmful drugs or surgery. Be sure to subscribe for more videos like this one. So let's begin. You can actually eat holiday treats and not feel like garbage. Today, I'm going to share with you some healthy swaps that you can do that actually are going to make you feel good. First off, my first recommendation is to not buy hot chocolate from the store. They usually add way too much sugar in there, and then they add all kinds of preservatives and all kinds of gunk in there. So what I usually like to recommend is you can just get pure cocoa or cacao. That's even better. Cacao is a healthier form of cocoa. It's not as processed. And you could try to get it organic. That's great. Even make it better. And you can just add like coconut sugar or honey or maple syrup and that type of stuff to the hot cocoa. So what you do is just to put the cocoa powder in there, 1 or 2 tablespoons, put a cup of hot water on top of there, add the sugar of your choice, the sugars that I just talked about, and you can add a great creamer. My favorite creamers are like a coconut creamer or a macadamia nut creamer. Those are my favorite ones. Trader Joe's, I know, has a really great one I like, which is a combination of coconut and almond. They add a little bit of sugar in there, only like 5 calories worth of sugar in there. So this is a little baby amount that gives you a little sweetness. So I don't really need to add any sugar to it at all. And actually, since I created the product Terra Brew, which is cacao with a lot of medicinal mushrooms and ashwagandha and ginseng in there to give it a little bit extra energy boost, is I like to just add the Terra Brew instead of the cacao powder, because my Terra Brew has cacao powder, but all these medicinal mushrooms in there. And it's even better that way because you're going to get energy, focus, concentration, anti-inflammatory support, blood sugar support, mitochondrial support, all these type of things, and actually drinking something that's really tasty. So that's one of my favorite things to do during the holidays and during the winter time to give me that nourishing hot cocoa upliftment that we get from drinking hot cocoa. And you don't have to feel bad. You actually feel great after drinking this drink instead of feeling kind of draggy because of all the sugar you just drank. So yeah, me and my wife have been working on like creating things that are going to be more healthy for us, like a dessert that we can actually eat. And we're like, hey, why don't we create something actually with this Terra Brew? We know this gives us great energy, but we want something tasty that we can actually eat and give us the calories we need to be able to function. So we created the brownie oatmeal product, and it tastes great. So what it is, it's just a half a banana. It's a third cup of oatmeal, and it is a fourth of a cup of oat milk or whatever milk that you want to put in there. And then it has a fourth teaspoon of baking powder in there. And then we add, 2 tablespoons of the Terra Brew. And then we just mix that all together and add 1 egg into it, mix that all together. And then you just sprinkle a little bit of dark chocolate chips on top, and then just a few pumpkin seeds. You bake it for 10 minutes, and voila, you have a great, healthy dessert that actually is going to give you great energy and do all the health benefits that I just talked about what that Terra Brew does. So when I look at granolas, first of all, a lot of them have wheat in it. I don't know why they add wheat to it, but it's high in wheat, and I don't eat wheat. I'm gluten free, so that's one thing. But also, it's really, really high in sugar. Okay, people tell me, "Oh, granola, that's healthy, right?" No, that's like a sugar bomb. It's all it is grain and sugar, and they add hardly anything else to it. So I need to create my own, and maybe someday I'll put it on the market of making it actually truly healthy granola. But what I do is I make more of like a note granola. What I mean by that, it's really high in nuts and seeds, and it has a little bit of granola in there. I mean, not granola, oats, sorry. And then I add a good healthy sugar to it. I like to add a raw honey. That's my favorite way to do it, and it's really crystallized. And then I add a little bit of maple syrup in there to make it really crystallized and really yummy. So what I do is I do 2 cups of oats to 2 cups of a nut seed blend. And I just varied it up. I don't always stay the same, but I like to add walnuts and pecans in there. I like to add flax seeds in there, and then I really like almonds. So I put all those together there, and sometimes I do it equal parts of all these. Sometimes I don't. It just depends on what you like, and you just play around with it, what nuts and seeds that you like. And then I love to add chia seeds on this, but I do this after it's already cooked because you're going to kill some of the good fatty acids inside. I do add flax seeds sometimes to it, but heating it up kills some of the good fatty acids in there. So it's probably best to actually add this afterwards. So you already have your oatmeal made. Let's say you put it in a bowl, you add the chia seeds and the flax seeds, and then you put your good healthy milk on top of there. So if you don't have any dairy allergies, my favorite is like a raw milk or organic milk, but raw is best. And then you could add a good healthy milk to that. I have a problem with conventional nut milks too, so usually I make my own nut milk. But sometimes I do buy the store, but I know that it can be time consuming and all that. But most nut milks at the store are a problem too. But this is a really healthy, energizing granola, and you have this little sugar kick that you have. You're like, oh man, I'm craving a lot of sugar. You can just put this granola in like a Ziploc baggie, and you just have it there in your purse or in your pocket. So if you're really craving some sugar, you just take that out, and it usually kicks it, and it tastes great. So you could just get spiced nuts, and they are going to help fulfill some of your little snacks that you need during the holidays, or you go to a party and you're like, hey, they have all this stuff on here that it really isn't good for me. It's going to make me feel really junky. So I need another option. So you could bring some spiced nuts, or you could bring spiced nuts to the party, and it's really healthy. So nuts are high in protein, high in fat, and they're not going to do it, and they're not going to spike your blood sugar. So you're just going to feel really good when you eat the nuts. So spiced nuts can be really good during the holidays. They add like cinnamon or nutmeg, or sometimes they add just a tiny bit of sugar to that. That's really good. And then I like to do a trail mix type of thing. Either I add the spiced nuts to the trail mix, or I make another one, and I just vary it up. I don't really have specifics there, but what it is just various nuts that you like. I like cashews and almonds and walnuts. And then I add dried fruit to this. And dried fruit is good and great. Make sure you get a nitrate-free dried fruit. But you add, let's say, just cranberries or raisins or anything like that, and it gives you that little sweetness that you're craving. And then you have that nuts that's balancing out the blood sugar. You're getting high protein. So it's a great treat that actually is going to make that you can feel good about eating. It's nothing harmful about it.
Now, this is different than typically what you can get at the store when you go to buy like a typical trail
Yeah.
mix. What's the biggest difference that you say between this combo that you mentioned and traditional trail mix that somebody might pick up at the store?
Well, a big thing is they just add a lot of sugary chocolate to it most of the time in a trail mix. So that's usually going to be the worst. And then they're going to add a ton of raisins that are high in the nitrates. And then they even add raisins that have added sugar to the raisins. So it's just too high in the sugar. Oh, something I missed in my trail mix is many times I do like to add like a chocolate chip, usually 60% or greater of chocolate in there. I like to add that. And I usually make it about, it depends on the time, like a fourth of the mix is chocolate chips if I really want it sweet. Or if I don't need to make it really sweet, I leave the chocolate chips out. So a milk chocolate is much higher in sugar, and also you're getting the milk in there, but that's beside the point. But it's really high in sugar compared to a dark chocolate. The reason why it's called dark chocolate is it has less sugar in there. Chocolate or cacao or cocoa is a very nutritious food. It is a powerhouse in antioxidants. It's a great nutritious food, but when we add tons of sugar to it, we ruin it. So we want to make sure it's a dark chocolate when we're getting our fruits, and it tastes really great because you're getting that sweetness from the fruit, but then you're getting a little bit of sugar from the chocolate, so you're getting that sugar that you want and you crave, but it's actually healthy sugar that you are getting. So I like to do some frozen fruits. You could get these from stores. Just make sure you get a dark chocolate form, like a dark chocolate covered bananas frozen, or dark chocolate strawberries frozen, and they're done in dark chocolate. Or you could create your own, or you do fresh dipped strawberries or bananas or whatever is your choice of fruit that you want to put in chocolate, and just make sure it's a dark chocolate. You buy your own, you melt it, and then you just dip the chocolate in there. And when you're really craving something sweet during the holidays, you could go to this, and it's a really healthy, good treat that you can have, and you can feel good about eating it, and you're going to feel good afterwards. So one of my favorite things to do is I like to, when I'm feeling like I need something sweet, I like to go to a fruit. And fortunately, during the holidays, we have awesome fruits to be able to eat because it's the time of citrus and the time of pomegranate. And I love to do with grapefruit is I learned this just a couple of years ago, is you cut off the ends and then you cut off the outsides of the peeling, and then you could just take out little pieces of the grapefruit in there. And that actually makes it taste a ton better to me when you have these little pieces of grapefruit in there, and you just get like that Texas grapefruit, pink grapefruit, and it's amazing. And it's really healthy and good for you. And then my favorite is also, I like these little mandarins or clementines. Those are a great little treat that you could go to that is going to be a much healthier option that's really high in vitamin C and other vitamins and minerals in there that are really sweet and help kill that sweet tooth. Now, I love pomegranates too, but if you've ever opened a pomegranate, there could be problems with that. You're like, hey, how do you eat this thing? So what you do is you cut it in half and you just put it over a bowl and you smack it with a spoon. And that's just going to make all those seeds fall out in there. And then you could just put those pomegranate seeds just in a bowl and you just eat them. My kids just eat it all the time, all winter long. We just put some pomegranate seeds in there if they feel like they want a slow snack after dinner and they're watching a movie or something. We just give them some pomegranate seeds and they love it. So these are really great options that are really, really healthy for you that are going to be kill that sweet tooth that you're craving during the holiday times. So sugar that you could just do like perfectly 1-to-1 ratio to cane sugar is coconut sugar. That is a better option than the cane sugar. It's not going to increase your inflammation as much, and most people aren't as sensitive to the coconut sugar at this time, so that's a great alternative. But you could also play around with doing a pure maple syrup or raw honey can be added to a lot of recipes and give it a great flavor also. So, and then you could use allulose. You do need usually that could be 1-to-1. You might need to add a little bit more allulose. Allulose is ALLULOSE. And this is what's interesting about the sugar is it's not going to spike your blood sugar, but it's actually been shown in the research to improve insulin sensitivity, meaning if you have type 2 diabetes, eating allulose actually improves your ability to take sugar inside your cells. So it's pretty cool. You get that sweet kick, but also you're actually treating that type 2 diabetes. So I really love allulose for that. We also have something called lamula, which is a type of superfood down in South America, which is sweet. It's not as sweet as cane sugar, so you need to add a little bit more of it, about 2 times as much of that compared to regular cane sugar. But it actually has a ton of vitamins and minerals in there. So you're actually eating a sugar that's actually going to be really good for you, and it gives you that little sweetness that you need. So let's say you are absolutely need your wheat and you love your wheat, and that's really awesome. My suggestions in that regard is easiest way is trying to get it to be a whole wheat and organic wheat. Number one, best option would be to get more of a ancient grain called Einkorn wheat, which is wheat that we had back in the day, but we've just modified our wheat so much since the 90s, and it's a totally different animal now, and it's the 23 organisms mutations different than the Einkorn wheat now. So, but people are going to do a lot better with their inflammatory responses and blood sugar responses to Einkorn wheat compared to just regular wheat. You can do spelt. I do like spelt more. Sprouted grains are really great. But my personal favorite is actually substituting with almond flour. It's going to give you that protein. It's going to give you that fat. And it's not going to give you that big spike of blood sugar when you're making your cookies, for example. So you make the almond flour cookies, you add the allulose, and then you add a little bit of the 60% chocolate chips, and you have a very low carb cookie that tastes awesome. So those are some suggestions I have. First up, we really need to not use hydrogenated oils or Crisco. That's a good beginning point. Stay away from that. That's poison. But also just vegetable oils are pretty much poison too. They're really bad for you. So adding good oils is very important. My favorite one is avocado oil because it doesn't have a really strong flavor to it. But if you don't mind olive oil, that's a great option too. And then if you like coconut flavor, coconut oil is a really great addition that you can add also. Also, I'm a fan of just adding old-fashioned grass-fed butter. is a great thing to add. I love butter. Butter makes everything taste better, and it's a much better option than using vegetable oils. If you want to learn more about how to be healthy, click my links to the right. I'm Dr. Jake, and I'll see you there.